today we talk about the very first thing is what is learning. So we need to know what is learning first, right? Then we need to know what are the difficulties in that. So for a child, learning always initial stages, it is difficult. But when it becomes disability, let us see first difficulty level, then go to the disability level. Why I'm stressing here is usually what happens in my 30 years of teaching experience, a teacher, when they enter the classroom, they'll be having a group of kids in a class. Let's suppose 30 to 40 kids or more than 25, I guess. So teacher has to understand how these kids are, how to really group them out, how to understand these kids. So that is a major question when you enter the classroom. So when the academic year starts, when we allot the subjects, the teacher enters the classroom and even the children are new, teacher is new. So teacher has to now assess the children. So usually in a normal way, we just give them an activity or give them an assignment or an assessment to know how our kids are. That's the usual practice. So we need to have a proper process to understand this. So if we don't have a proper process, it is very difficult for a teacher to understand their kids. That's one major thing in a classroom. So that is why what happens for an experienced teacher, at the first set itself, when she gives an activity or an assignment, she can identify which child is an average child, which is an above average child, below average child, or if the child is really struggling, or if the child is really overconfident. There are so many characters in that. So she can identify at the first activity itself when the teacher is an experienced teacher. If not, the teacher has to give many activities because it depends. One time the child may score well, may perform well, may not. So this varies to understand the child. So sometimes what happens for an experienced teacher, the teacher will be really having lot of strategies also to understand her child. So she adopts all that methods. So that is really fine. If that is not working, if she is a new teacher, nowadays you know very well that if a teacher makes a small comment, if they say that because all are pampered kids, if you just say that, no, your child is very dumb, very lazy, see, very passive, won't even talk. See, these are the comments, though the child is not able to respond to you, but that is going to imprint on child's mind. So it's very easy to make a brand, So that is why we have to check out before giving any comment. So we need to see where the child is really having problems. So that is why we have to check with the difficulty. That's the major factor. Then let's see whether the child is really having a disability or it is just a difficulty. Let's find out later. Then we will see to it what are the strategies or the remedies, how to overcome all such problems and how to really uphold the child. That we will have to think it later. Okay, finally, I wanted to give some important tips to teachers. So these are the main thing I wanted to really focus in my today's talk. So strategies and remedies, actually, sir wanted me to give more stress on these aspect. But what happens, first teachers are having difficulty in identifying the kids. So I wanted the teachers to know or have a clear knowledge about the difficulty level and the disability level. So that is very, very, very important. Then we can think of the strategy. If you cannot understand whether the child is a difficult, facing problem with difficulty level or having problem with the disability level, then how will you really set a strategy to that? So let us first discuss about the difficulty level, then see whether the child is really having some mental issues. Then we will think of the strategies. And I just wanted to make it very clear, strategies are not like having a pill. See, now I have a fever, I'll take Dolo 650. Yeah, within 2 days, it will be sorted out. But strategies or remedies. See, child is a unique child. Each child will have a different issues, and each child programming will be completely different. It's a different strategy, different remedies, different kind of approach. So we cannot say this is a strategy, you can do it for this. Okay, so with this respect, I just wanted, because I'm working with these kids, that is why I'm able to very confidently tell you that how this is going to work. So as I'm running a remedial center, so you're all teachers, I know that you will be having so many questions and so many problems. So you can write to me at any time. I'm going to help you out. See, for this reason, actually, our remedial center is having a tie-up with in and around schools. So we have, nowadays, I think it has become a mandatory to have a counselor and a remedial room in all schools. Okay, if that is not there in your school, so that is one major issue. So you need to think of that, okay? Because nowadays these issues are really, really increasing. So for that, actually, we need a proper educator. Otherwise, the child will suffer. Child will have a lot of problems and their future really hampers. So with that, I wanted to focus more on difficulties and disabilities. Then I'll come to strategies. Then I'll try to give some important tips for teachers. Fine. This is my complete concepts today, what I'm going to talk about. I think you are all following. Are you able to understand? Yes. Coming to learning disabilities. Yes, sir. I heard. Okay. Learning disabilities in children, you can see the eyes, the child eye. See, it's wondering, what is this? What should I do with this? What kind of an object is this? See, usually the disabled child will be really confused and it will be in this state. Just to give a glimpse of it, I've taken the slide. Now, let's come to a classroom. We have all learners in our classroom. So just now I explained you, there are all kinds of learners. Here you can say that, see, when we say learners, it is not only average, below average, or above average, or dull students, nothing. Apart from that, we do have a kind of learners. A learner may be an auditory learner, maybe a visual learner, tactile learner, or a kinesthetic learner. I think you might have come across these terminologies, is it not? Because when we do it, our BA or whatever it is, we always deal with such explanations and we see how the learning should happen. So for an auditory learner, it is just with audio, just we talk, give a lecture, that's more than enough. For a visual learner, if he sees something, that visualizing something will have a great impact on its brain. Some will have both audio and visual, both it will be there. Even that also gives a good impact for those kind of learners. Some kind of learners, tactile, that is they have to touch, feel, and then only they need to understand. So some will have a kinesthetic way, sit, do the work, then understand. So being a teacher, we need to understand in my classroom, what kind of learners are there? How do they really enjoy my teaching? How do they really learn? Accordingly, we need to plan our programs. Okay, so usually all our learners, as you see in my slide, the whole slide says all learners. Then comes a difficulty level, little bit, and disability level. So let me focus on this in future talk. Now let's see what is learning first. So I wanted to tell you what is learning. So to say what is learning, learning is inherent. So it is inbuilt. So it relates to the previous knowledge and acquiring a new knowledge. That is learning. Always a book or a teacher will not be just learning. It is much more than that. That is what today why we are having this workshop, 21st century learners. Why we have put that title? Because when we were studying, we were just stuck to the chalk board and our textbook. Nothing else we had. To go to library, we need to have so many other problems. I don't know whether even the library was also not fully fledged. But now it is not like that. Everything the child can explore itself. So that is why learning is something much more than that. So that is learning. Okay, when we come to the factors of learning, so there are so many factors which really influences our learning. So when we say what are its factors, what are all factors which really makes a good learning? The very important thing is our attention. So you're all listening to me. If you're not attentive, sitting at home, thinking about your family, your kids, okay, outside my kid, what is doing? Did I really did the snacks? So night, what should I prepare? Will anything register what I speak? Definitely not. So this attention is an important role in our learning process. That attention control, so that is very much required. So here I can tell you, in a small kids, that is usually the psychologist or the clinical psychologist or the psychology says that usually the attention span, in a child, if the child age is 6 years, so you need to add +3 to that. So the child will have attention span for 9 minutes only. So the age +3, that is what they say. It happens even to adults also, not only with kids. So with LD, imagine that is even more less. Okay. So that is a major factor for learning. So when we come to memory, see, this attention and memory both goes hand in hand. If attention is not there, the memory will not work. So it will not register your brain. So if it is not going to register, how will you recall it? So I told you, our human brain is a supercomputer. So just like that it works. So that also goes hand in hand. And the language system. Yeah, this is a very important role in our learning process. So what happens to our language? If we are not able to express properly, if we are not able to communicate properly, then again the learning happens. The spatial ordering system. Okay, you have understood everything. In a classroom, a teacher tells a story. Okay, the child understands everything. So the child wants to go and again tell the same thing to his friend or to his mom or to anyone. So the child is totally confused the sequences of the story. So putting it in a sequential order, or this is also a very big concept, spatial ordering system. I'm just putting it, what is the meaning of that? So there comes sequencing, and then putting it in, even if it is in the case of mathematics, this is a very big concept. So with all that, we need to have proper process. So if these are all the factors are in a right path, so learning will happen Absolutely 100%. The child is genius. The child is very intelligent. It's not so. All are intelligent. Only the thing is the factors and that has to be processed properly and in a right way. Okay, which are all going to influence this learning. Okay, this process will happen, but when we don't do it properly, what happens? There also again the learning will have its own problems. So now, after making so many researches, I think after so many years, after so many decades, to say, now the people learning by doing, fun way of learning, activity-based learning, these all have come now. Right from the beginning, we do this. Why we do this? Because it is really nice. The child will learn in all, that is 360 degree, the child will be learning. The child will observe, the child will, communicate, and the child can recall, and the child can really do it on its own. So the learning happens completely. So when the child do it on its own, see, that is why the Montessori method has become much more popular, you know. It is really a very good thing for until till 5th standard. Montessori method or Montessori way of teaching is really very good for a learner. Because what happens, you know, in Montessori classroom, we just keep all the material open. The child can go pick it up, whatever it attracts or whatever it is exciting, and start doing it. Okay, so this is fun way of learning. And that learning, you will not feel that the child is learning something, but learning would have happened over there. Learning for reward. See, sometimes what happens, we have to reward the children. See, if at all you complete this, I'll let you to go to activity room and play for 10 minutes. Immediately the child starts doing it. Okay, these kind of small rewards will really motivate the child. And learning by insight. Yeah, every child has kind of an insight. It has got some potentiality inside. So we need to tap that potential. Okay, for a teacher, it is really difficult actually. But when an activity is given, you will come to know that which child is good at what. What is the capacity? What is the inner strength? So you will know that. So these all influences for a teacher also to teach the child and to understand the child. And timely testing. Again, this is a memory issue and understanding issue. You want to check where actually the learning has happened. How much that learning has happened. How much I am able to connect to the child. Okay, so these are all some of the factors and influences of learning. Yes. Sometimes we feel that some problem with the child. The child is not at all responding. The child is very dull. The child is really very passive. We don't know why. Maybe it is due to so many reasons. Maybe child is having health issue. Maybe taking leave more than 10 days, coming back again, attend for 1 week, again take leave for 2 days, again come back. There won't be continuity. The child cannot really understand. And think about trauma. Here actually there is some death in the house, accident, or some other problem, having single parent. So many problems will influence that learning. The child may be dull. And some environmental issues also. If a child is being brought to a familiar situation to an unfamiliar situation, it's a very good school. So the child left there, got transferred, the child is being put into some other city, some other school. Child needs time to adjust. So it's very difficult for a child to adjust, especially in nursery classes and in up till grade 2. If a class teacher leaves the class, if the kids come to know that tomorrow the teacher is going to take leave, it goes and tells mama that tomorrow my teacher won't come, so I won't be going to school. So this is a scenario. So kids are very much adjusted, very much attached to the environment also. If that also have a problem, then again there is a problem with learning. So we need to understand all this, whether the child is really having such problems. Okay, this genetics will come to a learning disability that I'm going to explain you. Now, I told you that there are so many things which is going to really hamper, which is really going to trouble the learning. Think that your kid has been having a trouble focusing, remembering things, or seems quite flustered. So do you will come to a conclusion that the child is having a learning problem? That we need to think. Okay, so I told you where all the difficulty level comes. One is with emotional. I forgot to tell you about emotional also. I told you that if a teacher is absent, that is again emotional. And if the child is having somebody is bullying, that and all, it is there. Usually it comes in the paper. These emotional issues also really makes the child to come down in the performances. And even the language problem, if it is mother tongue and suddenly shifted to English global language, there also the issue comes. So these are all the problems. What happens? The self-esteem, and then it causes stress and hampers the academics. And usually it imbalances the brain, So but all this for a short period of time. You can't come to a conclusion that, no, the child is not able to do anything. The child is really having some problem. Can you label the child that way? You need to wait. What actually the child is undergoing. Okay. So there are so many factors. There are so many causes. And there are so many what I told you about this emotional or some global problems or some with language problems. So with all this, maybe the child is performing very, very badly in academics. So how to really decide? So we'll be having parent-teachers meeting, we'll be talking, we'll be doing everything, but still keep observing the child, have one-to-one talk with the child, and give comfortability to the child, and give its own space, and give time to adjust. With all that, what I feel is you can understand the child and help the child better. Okay, so these are all some of the things for a difficulty level. But still, we feel that, no, I asked everything. The child is having some problem, but now nothing is there. But still the child is like this. I spoke to the parent. Sometimes even the parents also will not reveal the truth. No, my child does everything at home. I don't know why she is not doing it here. See, I have seen all these kind of parents. Okay, so please observe the child. Try to find out the background of the child. Okay, with all this, finally, you can check, giving all comfortability, giving all guidance, doing counseling, then see the performance of the child. If it little bit increases, at the end of the academic year, check the report card. Is it consistently, if the child is really having very lower marks with all your efforts, If the child is not really picking up, then let us think. Or else, if the child is having, for first term examination, the child is able to take average marks. Again, in 1 or 2 tests, very poor performance. Slowly the child is picking up, and final marks, it really, you won't believe, this is a child scoring so much, you know. So this uncertainty, or it is not to say, it is not uncertainty, it is, what to say, the gradation is not very consistent, you know. It is not low, little bit high, little bit higher than highest. Not like that. Sometimes it's very low, sometimes it is very high. So definitely the child is undergoing some social issues or some problems. Then come to the conclusion that child is not having any kind of disability. Child is having difficulty. Okay, some in mathematics you think. So the child is not at all scoring in maths. Okay, maybe it hates that subject. There must be some strong reason to it. In earlier days, maybe she or he might have got a very a guide or a facilitator who actually taught was not good. Maybe there it got stuck. Later classes, the child is not able to come out of that. It happens even with languages also. The child is not able to write. Child is not able to say good, correct spellings. This all happens. If it is not being properly taught, also this happens. So these are the so many areas you have to see. But finally, how will you come to conclusion that the child is not disabled, it's having a difficulty problem? Only through the continuous performance observation. Okay, that is very, very, very important. So usually what we do know, in all schools, we used to write the observation record of each and every child. That is a very, very, very good practice to have a track of a child. You know, if something the child gets a reward, it will be noted in that observation record. If at all, if you are not making, please make it. That is going to help the teacher as well as to the parent. And it is very easy to help the child to get more and more performance level higher and higher. You know, so that is why this observation record is very important. So when you see that, when the child is able to do it at one time, and why not at the other time? So please check all this. Okay, before coming to any conclusion, please think of all this. Okay, I feel this difficulty level, most of you every day in your everyday classes, you'll be coming across, and you are much aware of all this, and it is very well known for all teachers. So, but I'm just recalling or recapturing everything, what all it happens. So when I talk, I think you can visualize the child. Okay, what is happening? Almost all kids in your classroom, you will be having these kind of kids. So you can visualize those kids who comes in this scenario. Okay, now comes the important part of the today's session. I wanted to tell you about the brain development. Okay, so I told you that our brain is human brain is a supercomputer. Normally, there will be proper wiring. With the first day, I think Dr. Poonima had taken the class and she spoke about neuroscience. So that was a wonderful talk, and I think that gave you a clear idea. I need not tell more about this. But for a disabled child, we have millions to millions of wires inside, nerves inside. But if there is a problem with wiring, so there will be a problem of learning. So here, the disability could be due to inadequate development of the brain or premature birth, low oxygen supply, malnutrition, or some of the potential causes. May not be these causes also. I told you, sometimes maybe this is hereditary also, but may not. Because till now, for these neurological problems, we don't have any specific reason. Nobody has given a specific reason to this. So may or may not. So in disabled kids, the brain, the nerve system will be little bit disturbed. So maybe some disability may be very severe, maybe some will be moderate. It happens. If it is profound, I'll tell you, we need to have 24 hours care. Somebody should be there. That becomes very, very difficult. So if a child is having a IQ level is lower than 70, that is, it is intellectually delayed. Okay, in every aspect of life, we can say that. Okay, and one more important thing I wanted to recall here is, let us not come to any conclusion or difficulty or disability at the age of 3, 4, 5. Okay, because it is a growing age. You cannot come to any conclusion during that time. Only when the child is 6-year-old or at the most 7-year-old, 7 to 8 is the best age to conclude. Till then, it is an observation period. Okay, please, I'm requesting all the teachers, please do not brand any child until then. Give ample of opportunities to learn. So study or observe the child accordingly, plan your programs. So until 7 years, the child will not really show the perfect problem where actually it is undergoing, where it is suffering. And even the teachers, it is very difficult to come to any conclusion. Okay. Now, from this, I'm going to really talk about disability. I think the difficulty level, I feel that all are able to follow. That's not a big concept to understand. Every day you are looking at this kind of children, and this will be there in all classes, and it's a common usual scenario. Now let's come to disability level. Okay, a child, let us suppose, having a disability, what happens? The very first picture shows that difficulty in following directions and instructions. Okay, whether he has to go to left, whether the child has to go to right, spatial ordering system, I told you, that also comes under this. Okay, it's very, 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 very difficult. Okay, and difficulty in focusing. Really, the child is totally confused, can't focus. The attentiveness, that attention span, it cannot hold. It's very difficult for a child. Difficulty in understanding maths. So the numbers, that graphic symbols, that will not stay in the brain. They experience trouble in reading, writing, following instructions, understanding directions, so many things. Later I'll tell you, will all these problems will be there in one single child? Maybe, but in very rare case. That we tell it as global problem. That is completely, we need to have a different kind of program and we need to do it. Usually, the children will not be having all problems, okay? Either the child may be having reading disability or writing disability or this directionality or with math phobia. I'll show you that in further slides. Okay. Then, poor participation in group activities. I've just listed out very few in this because I told you, this is a very, very big concept which I cannot really cover up in 1.5 to 2 hours. I'm just giving you the glimpses of it. Just wanted to make you very clear what is disability. Okay, that is my sincere trial. Okay, now this poor performance, poor memory, Okay. Problems with handling pencils or crayons. See, there is lot of fine motor and gross motors development. Okay. So this is very, very, very difficult, actually speaking. So if that has not been properly developed, it is very difficult to hold a pencil also. Okay. So here you can see that when you enter a classroom, usually you say to all your kids, see, I'm a new teacher. My name is this and this. Can I have an introduction of you all? Can everyone one by one stand up and give your introduction? See, the teachers should be very alert in listening to their introduction part. So when you go on moving child to child, if you come across any child not introducing, looking at your face, this is the first symptom. Okay, eye to eye contact. This is really very, very, very important thing. When a child is not able to look at your eyes and talk, you know, seriously, there is a problem. But again, don't come to conclusion. I'm telling you the symptoms. Okay, one is eye to eye contact. Usually what happens, no, when there is disability, it is very difficult for a child to look and speak, give eye to eye. You know, there is a problem in this. Okay, that is one major thing. Okay, before this, I just wanted to tell you in these slides, what happens, you know, when you have eye to eye contact is one greater symptoms, and the other symptoms I'll just tell you. Sitting tolerance. So in a classroom, you will be giving some task, and then you will ask the students to complete it within 15 minutes. I won't pin drop silence. Sit and do it. Observe. A child who is having really a disability or problem with learning, child is not able to really sit in that small chair or small desk. Can't stick to that place. It keep on dancing, jumping. And other children will tell, ma'am is disturbing. Child can't sit, you know. So sitting tolerance, the time of that sitting tolerance will be very, very less. Okay. Then when it comes to, I told you the attention span, it is very, very less. You can't really have that attention towards you. Okay. Because all control system is in the CPU of the brain, right? It does not only controls our attention, but it also filters out what is irrelevant and what is relevant. But for a disabled child, what happens? That will not filter. There is a problem with learning. Try to understand this. Okay. So that is why the focusing is very, very difficult for that kind of children. Then one more thing, when it comes to writing, eye-hand coordination. Okay. The child has to see those lines. If you have given 4 lines or if you have given 2 lines, you know, the child has to write the alphabets within that. Usually what we do is, for disabled children, we never ask the children to write in 4 lines. Because 4 lines, it is very, very, very difficult for a child to understand, which is in uppercase, which is in lower case. It is not possible. So we just give 2-line books, you know. Let the child write within that 2 lines. If it goes up, let it go. If it goes down, let it come. So there is one problem is solved. The child is not be very, very alert in touching the red line, again the blue line, and again the red line. Okay, so there will be only 2 lines. With that, we give them practice. And one more thing, as I said, I'm showing you here that problems while handling a pencil or a crayon. See, I think you might have come across this problem. I'll tell you, I'll show you a small thing. See, usually in nursery classes, we give such activity, okay, to strengthen the fine motor skills. This is a grip, pencil grip or pen grip. The child needs to hold, okay, initially. And see, one more important thing I wanted to tell you is, see, now it has become a passion for the parents, before 4 years, the child will go to playgroup. Playgroup starts at the age of 2.5 itself. That's not the age for a child to go to school actually. Okay, let the child go, because all are having one kid. The child needs a companion. We just send. Okay. After sending, how much ever oral you give for a child, that is not at all an issue. Okay. Child can grasp as many oral things. Brain has got that much strength. But when it comes to writing, if you give a small pen, thin pen, a thin pencil, thin crayon, this gets a lot of, this muscles it'll be very, very tender, and that gets damaged. So when you press this over here, that full strength, that full strain falls on the elbows. So what happens at that age, if this part is damaged, when the child comes to 4th grade or 5th grade, the child is not able to write more than a page because it starts paining. It has already damaged in initial stages. So what should be done? You need to give a fetch pens. Fetch pens means, see, not this big. It should be this big, so that the pressure will not fall on these tips. Okay, the child can hold it very easily, and the nib or the top or the tip of that will be very thick. The minute the child puts it on the paper, the print falls on it. So the child enjoys writing. Here what happens, it's a very thin, needs to press to put the print. What happens, the child will start putting pressure on this part. So this gets hampers. So that's one thing. Then how to strengthen? See, even for a normal kid, we need to strengthen these fine motor skills. How to strengthen these skills? We have a lot of activities for that. See, one activity I'll show you because I've got a paper here. See, instead of if you have a child at home, instead of asking the child to tear the paper in this way, you ask the child to hold the paper like this and ask the child to hold it these tips tightly and like this. So the pressure falls here and the piece of paper comes down. Okay. So it is an exercise to this fine motor skills. So these kind of exercises, you can make small bits of this, draw an apple and ask the child to paste the glue on that. Ask the child to spread these small things. See, when you just keep on doing like this, even this gets strengthened. This is a small exercise for the infants or 3-year-old or 4-year-old up till 4 years. Okay, so you can ask them to crumple these paper very tightly, make small bits of like this. Okay, if you start collecting that every day for 10 minutes, you can make that. Okay, this becomes an activity. Sitting tolerance also will improve. The child will have an exercise to its hands. Okay, later stages, this is going to help the child to hold a pencil. The handwriting issues will be sorted out. Okay, more than that, that's what. If I go on telling you the strategies, I can tell a number of things. Especially for holding a pencil, I'm telling you, if you have an old syringe, okay, at home, remove the needle and a plastic syringe. Just fill color water to a small glass. Ask the child to just suck the water, color water into the syringe. And ask the child to just press it and let it out. Okay, that becomes an play. At the same time, there is an activity to this small muscles. Okay, Like this, there are so many activities to be done. So that time, the hand grip will be there. This can be done even to a normal child, even to a disabled child. But normal child usually picks it up fast. But for a disabled child, you need to find out more and more activities like this. Okay? And with poor memory also, I'm telling you, this attention and memory always goes to hand in hand. Okay? So you can play some memory games, or you can ask the child what happened yesterday. Keep on talking to the child. These are all giving an exercise to the brain. Okay, what did you eat in the morning? What mama prepared? So small things, just half an hour before what happened, 1 hour before what happened. Keep on talking to the child. Okay, then when it comes to I told you, the attention span, how to improve. Keep everything ready before you bring the child. Okay. See that you will not be getting up from that place, and have a very small task. And mentally prepare the child that today, just for this much time, we will be doing only this much activity. Later, I'm going to leave you to play or whatever you feel like. So the mind is set for a child. So that minute you can really hold his attention. So the learning becomes much easier. Okay, like this, there are so many strategies which I can really tell you once I finish this session. There are so many other things, factors also for disability. Let me see how much I can really cover today. Okay. Apart from all this, okay, eye-hand coordination, memory, reading problem, okay, sitting tolerance, and eye-to-eye contact. With all this, you will be observing all this is there in the classroom. My child is really having these all problems. You might not know a child may be having auditory processing disorder. What do you mean by this auditory processing disorder? They call it as APD. The child cannot hear properly. Okay, the child is having problem with listening. So the best thing what you can do is make the child to sit in front of you. If you come across that, okay, make the child to sit in the first bench and see that you are able to really connect to the child. Okay, and you can use tape recorders, or you can record it and put, okay, auditory, that is audio tapes you can use, and even the computers also will help. Okay, this is one kind of disorder. Then let's come to language processing disorder. You know that the child is not able to speak. The brain finds it very difficult to relate the sounds and blend the sounds. So this is also again at the age of, you need to find the history of the child when you come across such problems. Okay, what happened when actually the child started talking? So what was the age when it started the first letter or 2-letter words? So any medical reports you have, any therapist have you consulted? So try to talk with the child. First know the history, then try to talk with the child and find out really the child is having the language issue. I told you, sometimes if the child is being brought from mother tongue to this, the child stops talking, because child is not able to really interact with others, or many other problems we don't know, that we have to check it out. So with this processing disorder, we have to check. Okay, so when this comes to language processing disorder, we need to take a help of the speech therapist and see that how best the sounds we can make the child to pronounce. There are so many techniques for that. Usually what they do is on the tip of the tongue, they put honey. Okay, ask them to touch the upper lip. So the tongue will really lengthen it and starts sounding it. Oh, sound. So when these kind of sounds, when the child starts producing, then slowly connects it to letters. So it is very, very, yes, somebody. Okay. When it comes to dysgraphia, see, the word itself says that a graph. Okay. The graph in the sense, the shape of a letter or the shape of an object that has to get imprint on the brain. Okay, so that has been, if it has been imprinted, then the child is able to recall and then it's able to write. So dysgraphia is always an issue with the writing problem. Okay, so it is very difficult to write. So with the dysgraphia, first we need to find out where the problem is. So strengthen that skill. Okay, again I told you it is a motor skills. Okay, holding a ball. Okay, fine motor, gross motor. Those skills, those areas needs to be strengthened. Giving though, this is all we do it. Okay, that rolling thing. Okay, then you can use even the clips. The clips can be put it. For the clothes we put it. So those clips you can give. That will be very tight. With effort, the child has to open it and put it. So there also, this is going to help them out. Okay, like this, there are so many things which you can really help for writing purpose. Then comes dyscalculia. I told you mathematics is really very tough even for normal kids. But when it comes to disabled kids, the calculations, okay, the numbers, counting, that is really very, very difficult. So what do we do at that time? So let us see that we can write a picture or draw a picture to make them understand, or with objects, okay, we can make them understand the concepts initially. Okay, once that logic is understood by these kids, later slowly they pick it up. So dyscalculia completely deals with math. Okay, visual motor deficit. So it is with visuality. So when the child is not able to see the board, not able to copy it, there again the problem lies. So that time we need to go for auditive. Okay, we have to tell, we have to put audio records so that the child will understand. So the visual will not help her. So you can give a good student as a companion to her. So with that child, she is able to cope up. Okay. Okay. Now, these are some of the major factors for disability. If you come across a child with so many problems, okay, these are the problems which a child is facing, then I think you can come to a conclusion that the child is having some disability problem. After observing all this, you can come to conclusion. Even this learning disability, you may think that, will it be a disease? Will not be, will it be a permanent issue? No, not at all. With continuous effort, with a different way of teaching, with different methodology, according to the child needs, if we do it, definitely the child can overcome. But there is again a challenge for a teacher. See, having 40 kids in a classroom, how a single teacher can take care of one child who is disabled? That is why I told you, now the government has made it mandatory to have a remedial room in every school. Because these kids are in borderline. You can't tell them that they are a retarded child. You can't tell them that they are completely unfit to a normal school. You can't put them out. Because it is invisible. See, this disability is invisible. You can't, it is not visible. So how do you say this? See, the major thing is you can't make the parents accept that your child is having a problem. That itself, it is the biggest challenge for all teachers. You know, parents will never accept. When my child can do this, can do that, can do this, why not this? No. The teacher is not good. The teacher can't understand anything. I think the teacher must have targeted my child. Am I right or wrong? This happens. Okay, this is really difficult. So if we have a remedial room with a different programming, we have to give very, very simple tasks, and whatever our content, that has to be divided into smaller chunks according to the child's ability. Then what best to support that part to learn, we need to have our own strategies. With all this, with greater effort, if you can really do it, child definitely will overcome with these disabilities. So the major thing is identifying in which area the child is having disability. Okay, that itself is a major issue. By the time we identify, the child would have lost grade 1, the child is not performing well. The child is really getting all 0 marks. Nothing the child is performing. Already the child would have been labeled over there. When the child comes to, because that is why I think the reason the government has made a rule that till 5th standard, there is no demotion. That is, the child should not be failed. All needs to be promoted. That is the right thing, because we don't know when the children will really get up and they pick up and the scenario changes. So if we observe, identify the problems, then find a solution to that and see that how in a better way we can program, how we can really facilitate that child by giving what kind of a program. And after giving, see, we usually write IEP for this. I told you, I think that time, it is an individual education plan. Usually we write this for learning disabled children. Why do we write this? Because to know where the child stands. First, we are going to give short-term goals. Let us suppose the short-term goal will be, let me make the child from this date to this date. Let's suppose for 7 days. I'll be teaching letter A, B, and C, 3 letters for a child for 1 full week. Then I'll set a long-term goal. By the end of 3 months, the child should complete the complete A to Z. That is my long-term goal, because I don't know in what pace the child is going to really learn. So after 1 week, if the child is able to really reach out my short-term goal, I'll be little bit increasing the goal. Okay? You can really increase bit by bit, and then you can giving more and more as the child progresses. So this individual education plan will help you out how the progress grade is really going on. That is going to help you as well as the parent. And you will get to know what more programs or what more I need to give to the child. And which area I need to really again come down. Which is really again, it is becoming difficult. Okay. This IEP method, it is, if you want, I can share you that format that is individual education plan. That is a very good idea of writing down, that gives you a complete picture of a child. Okay. Those are the children, those who are having problem with learning. So these are the some of the things which I would like to really tell you with difficulty level and disability level. Okay, difficulty level, you know that when you check with the report card, finally you can come to a conclusion that the child is not disabled, it is just having a difficulty problem. But when you come to a disability, when you see the report card, never you can see the progress of a child. It needs lots and lots of time, It is very, 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 very slow process. If a child has a memory issues, it is really still more worst. If you have taught around 1 month, you might have really struggled to teach that. But if the child is having a memory issues, again, it slows down. So this progress you can't see with academics. Okay, you should have lot of patience. Okay, with lot of activities and continuous effort will bring the child. If a child or normal kid can pass out 10th standard at the age of 50, these children may take their own time to complete their 10th grade. Okay. I feel I'm able to connect and I'm doing it. I really don't know because I'm not getting any kind of questions or feedback. Sir, Parshuram sir, anything?
Yes, there is a question from Rinku ma'am, Rinku Dakal ma'am.
Okay.
When you were presenting, there was a question, let me read that out.
Okay.
Is autism a learning disability or physical, disability? Or is it
no, autism.
Autism.
Okay. Autism is entirely a different kind of spectrum, sir. So that will not come for learning disability. It is completely a different spectrum.
If you can just...
Autism is really very difficult to analyze the such kid, Autism is completely a different thing. Okay. So any other question?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
So far, there is nothing.
Yes, I know.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know the audience are really enjoying or really getting some inputs with my talk.
That they can just write in the chat box.
Ma'am, really, really very informative. I'm enjoying really, ma'am.
Okay.
Learning so many things.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
For sharing.
Okay. Because I don't know, I just keep on talking. I'm really confused whether you people are really understanding or following or getting bored. I don't know that. Okay. Okay. Now, finally, I just wanted to tell you some of the important things to teachers, because with my experience, I've really listed it out, all these do's and don'ts. If I go on listing it out, I can list even more, but I've listed out very less. See, first, the thing is for a normal kid or for a disabled kid, first you need to set the goal for the session. Okay. If it is 40 minutes period, you will be entering the class. Okay. You will be having a subject or a content where you can finish up within 10 minutes. What will you do rest of 20 minutes or 30 minutes? You will be wasting that time and you don't know how to connect to the children. Please don't do that. Even if you are really preparing for 1 hour, that is not an issue. But for 40 minutes full time, you set the goal and prepare yourself and Tell the kid that this is what I'm going to do it in this class. So the children will mentally get set. This is readiness to learn. Okay. Design the session keeping the child in mind. So this actually for a remedial class, I'm just telling you. If it is a remedial class, if you are dealing with one-to-one, that time, please design your session. If the child is allowed to paint, start with painting. Okay. First, initially make the child to sit, give all different colors. Okay. Make a palm print. Okay. Just write that. It is my palm. Okay. Cute palm, something like that. Put it on the notice board. Then bring the child and see that what next you can teach the child. That minute, the child mind will be completely with you. So utilize that precious time. Try to imbibe your knowledge, transform your knowledge to the child. Okay. So that is very, very, very important. Once it so happened, that dyslexia, there are so many things here. So if I want telling, so many things will come, I can't really stop. So once what happened, a child was having a lot of problem with writing D and B. I also tried 101 methods, but nothing worked out for that child, Then finally what I thought, I was just playing with him. So I just told him, see, your bum is there, no hips. Okay. Think that has to become like this, that is B, bum. And your tummy, it is like this. It is D. Immediately, you don't believe, you should see the spark in child's eyes, The child got it. That minute it really caught that technique. Even today, the child will not really confuse with D and B. Will you believe this? See, what I'm telling you is, when Parshuram sir asked me to tell this strategies, I told, see, this is a completely teacher's, creativity. Teachers need to keep on thinking, what best I can give, what best I can really do to make the child understand. Where actually I can catch up that child, where I can connect. Okay, these are the things you need to keep on thinking. If you think one or the other solution, you will find out. Okay, this nowhere it has been written. Okay, the minute I thought how to make, I don't know, all of a sudden it just got it, and the child was laughing, jumping, It was so happy it was. Even today, the child remembers that. So like this, you can make your own strategies, keeping the child in mind. Okay. Then be aware of the learning readiness of the child. If the child is really not at all interested, all her peers are playing in the playground, all are in the activity room, because you will be free, you will pull out that child. Come, let's finish off this. Can you do that? Definitely not. You can just make the child write it, but nothing goes to its head. Okay. So be aware of that. Keep the materials working table in order. This is what I told you, because due to attention span, I told you this when I was telling you about that. See, you have to keep whatever required for that activity. You should not get up from that place. The minute you move, the attention gets diverted. The learning will not happen. Child will get diverted. Okay. So see that everything's ready with you. And you will be that minute you will be capturing the child's mind. Okay. Connect your teaching to child's prior knowledge. This is very important. I told you what is learning. Learning is always connected with our previous knowledge. So here also the same thing happens. Okay. Yesterday we did that painting, right? We did the green painting. We made a green palm print, right? Today, shall we do that green leaf? Connect that to that. Color is green. Okay. Now green part, you did it. Now green leaf, you are doing it. So you'll be connecting that. Okay, I'm just giving you very, very simple examples. Okay, one concept at a time. This is really, I'm telling you, very, very important. Don't rush with your portions. Whatever the management says, please don't listen to the management. I don't, you will blame me, but I'm strictly telling this. Because why do we do that? Why do we teach? Just to finish the portions, just to show 200 pages books completely written. Its complete record is there. But what is there in the brain? Ultimately, we don't know. Parents are very happy. You know, my child, she has written almost this classwork completed, that classwork completed. Yeah, written so neatly. And one more thing I wanted to really tell you here. Almost this disabled kids, you know, some will have writing issues. The children, those are not having writing issues, they copy it letter to letter like a very, very, you know, you should see the legible writing, you know, write it very, very neatly. You will not come to know if you open the classwork, you will think that, oh, this child may be genius, yeah, very intelligent. But what is the actual fact? If you go and talk to that child, child is not able to read anything, child is not able to understand anything, just copying. They are very good at copying. This is one more point which I missed it out. This is a common symptoms in disability. Some children, those are not having writing issues, writing disability, they copy it letter to letter. There you won't find even one spelling mistake also. But when you ask to explain what the child has written, complete zero. Got it? Even these things you need to keep in your mind. Okay. So that is why please keep one concept at a time. So when one concept is completely understood, that learning has happened, then you can increase your level of teaching. Okay. Pay attention to the language. Encourage the child to share how he did an activity. See, this is very important. Oral language, oral communication, that too in this 21st century world, if you don't talk, if you don't know how to talk, see, I was unable to give you any lecture today if I was like that. Though I had all the qualities, though I had all the caliber, is it not? Once it so happened, even today I remember one of my relatives, he was in RV college, such a renowned college. He is a gold medalist in, I think, engineering, electronics or something, I don't know. But, you know, when they came for a campus interview, he was unable to get placement even to a very, very small company. He was about to suicide himself. Why, you know? This is the major problem, language problem, communication problem. So please give more importance for communication. They need to talk, communicate, share their feelings, ideas, their imaginations, give more, explore more in that direction. So automatically rest of the areas, they are going to just improve and they are going to really learn automatically. Okay. So I feel these are some of the do's, okay, teachers must do. So let's come to don'ts. Okay. Don't be anxious. Your anxiety will reflect on the child. Tomorrow test is there, yaar, come no sit. You have to study, you don't know even ABCD, you don't know to write anything, you don't know maths, you don't know this. What happens to the child? Child mind will not work. As neuroscience Purnima ma'am explained that day, it gets stuck. So be calm. Don't put your anxiety on the child. Let it be what is there. Okay? Please take it very, very coolly and see that properly he can manage. Okay. When questions were asked, this is very important. Please give time to think. Before the child thinks, if you prompt it, you will not know whether the child has understood or not. So please give time to think. This is very, very important. It should process in the mind. The child has to recall it. This is, I'm not talking only for the disabled children, even with difficulty children, even with normal children. Some children may be very, very spontaneous. They just come out. Leave about those toppers. Anyhow, they can enhance their learning in a number of ways. But think of difficulty and disabled children. Okay? So please give enough time to think. And do not overcorrect. Do not use red pen for correction. Say this, I'm going to stress you out because I'm stressing this point. First of all, the children who are having difficulty and disability, they will have almost, they are into self-esteem. They always have an inferiority with them. I don't know anything. My friend is really scoring so well. And apart from that, if the child sees that red mark in its book, that really goes even more down. Okay, please don't use a red pen. Okay, you can call the child and tell the child, see, here there is a mistake. In front of you, ask the child to erase that, rewrite it. I told you, it is very, very delicate issues handling a child. See, we can give a lecture to college students. We can do lessons to high school students. But handling up till 5th grade are the teachers, the super, those teachers will not be really rewarded or will not be awarded, will not be rectified, will not be recognized, but they are the ones who does the major task for a child to stand up. They are the pillars. They are the ones. So with that patience, if a teacher is going to teach a child, you don't know where the child will really go. That teacher, even today, I think we really remember our primary teachers more than the college lecturers, more than our high school teachers. Primary teachers we remember. Why? That connectivity we had. Okay, so that is very, very important here. And this is a common thing. We always say, don't compare. So that should not be done because each child is unique. You know that every child will have one or the other potentiality inside, one or the other insight inside. Child can really grow on it. That is why I think Modi ji has given this big, that NEP, that is new education policy, whatever the child is good at, they can nurture that. Okay, they can come up with that. So please do not compare. Each child can really do on its, according to its passion. Okay, don't crowd the board or worksheet. Yeah, so this is one more thing. See, anything you wanted to give, precisely think of the concept and give proper worksheet. Hardly you can give 5 questions, or you can give at the most 5 pictures. Okay, when a child sees it, it should understand clearly. And when you write on the board, okay, this side I'll rub, that side I'll write. Okay, this side I'll erase, that side I'll write. All children cannot follow. They get confused. Which side I completed, which side I need to write, where I have left. So all incomplete work. Okay. Never put 0 in the answer sheet. This is one more important thing. Please don't do that. Okay. Don't write anything. Don't write any comment. Okay. You can ask the child, better luck next time. Put something positively. Okay. Put the, whatever the remarks you are putting, put it in a positive sense. So never label the child. This labeling is a very, very, very bad thing. If the teacher labels a child, I feel the teacher should quit the job and leave. Okay. Because they are the ones who is going to really hamper the future or ruin the future of the child, because the child will remember that. And the child thinks that, okay, my teacher told me that, yeah, I'm not able to do it. I'm not good at, I'm really, I am not capable of doing it. So it starts thinking in that way, and child actually internally it dies. Okay, please don't ever label the child. Allow the child to explore. So that is why we are really having these kind of workshops for all teachers, because we wanted the teachers to live all the children to explore themselves. Because now all gadgets, everything is available in and around them. They can listen, see, look, observe, whatever they want, they can do that and explore, can really understand, can enhance their knowledge, enrich whatever, in whichever way they want, or whichever subject they want, whichever concept they want. So please allow the child to explore. Okay. So I feel I'll just leave the forum open for questions. I think all will be waiting. I kept on talking more than 1.5 hours. It's already 7 o'clock in our thing. Okay. Before you ask a question, I just wanted to make it clear a few questions for you, because I know these are all commonly asked questions and all teachers should know that. Okay. Does having an LD mean that you can't learn? I think this, I answered it. Anybody can answer me this? Please, I think it is better to talk instead of putting in chat box, if you can.
Does having
does having an LD, that is learning disability, means that you can't learn? Have I answered this question in my talk? This is a memory game for you. You recall and answer me.
There are yes, ma'am. Let me reflect my understanding on what you presented.
Yeah.
What we try to give, if children are not learning, that doesn't mean that they can't learn. There are certain things within the children which they need to explore, which we should give them to explore it out in themselves, so that they come out of that, rather than we imposing them. If we start imposing onto them, definitely they will be having learning difficulties. But then if you let them to explore it out, then there's nothing as such as learning difficulties.
Correct. Okay, that's fine. So what he said is exactly right. So LD means it's not that he can't learn. He can learn in a different methodology. Okay, that is what I wanted to tell you. We have to have a different approach of teaching. So learning will be in a different approach. Okay, that too according to their the child's ability. Okay, or the child's history. Looking into that, we need to plan our programs. Okay, how do you find out if you have a learning disability? I told you what are the symptoms, right? So can anyone answer for this? How do you find out if you have if your child have a learning disability? In your class, if any child has a learning disability, can anyone answer? 1 or 2 points you can just tell me.
Yeah, ma'am. There we discussed lots of points like auditory processing disorder, language processing disorder, this dysgraphia, dyscalculia, visual motor defect.
Yes.
So these are discussed on this part.
Correct. So very first thing what I actually told you is if the child is not having eye-to-eye contact. Okay. Okay. That usually this learning disability children will not have eye-to-eye contact, and they are not confident enough. Okay, while speaking. So you can make out very easily. Okay. Yes. Then how do you get an LD anyway? How do you get it? I think you understood my question. Is it hereditary, or is it genetic, or it is some
health issues, traumas, environmental problem? That can be.
Yes. So I think I answered even this. We do not have a specific answer to this. So It can maybe hereditary, but sometimes it may not. Okay, I told you all these neurological problems will not have any specific answers to it. Okay, will I outgrow my learning disability? Sure, that is what the same question. I think it's repeating. Okay, my school board says they cannot do an assessment on to my daughter for a couple of years. Do I have any other options? So yes, of course, schools will not be having any assessment facility. Usually schools can give an observation report about the child. Okay, usually all schools will do that. They give an observation report, and parents need to take that observation report and take the child for IQ test to a clinical psychologist. Okay, if you go there, there will be a kind of test for reading, writing, and everything. They will do the IQ test, and there they can really tell where exactly in which area the child is having problem. So when you just submit that to the teacher who is handling that child, then the teacher can really plan a proper program according to that defect. Okay, this is very, very important, because see, teachers can understand where the problem is, but you cannot really say exactly the problem is here. That has to be again assessed by clinical psychologist only. If it is very minor or very mild, I think that class teachers can do it. See, what has happened in UK and US, those countries and all, they immediately rectifies these, and they think that even brain is also equally an organ, and they always think that if there is any problem, yes, that is also a kind of a this one what disability is also needs to be addressed, and they straight away go and consult the counselor, consult the psychiatrist, and they just get separated. But what has happened in India? First, acceptance itself, it is very difficult. After accepting, if the teacher tells to get this done, and that is going to really help them out. So to understand that, the parents will take their own sweet time. Okay, and they tell that my child is not an abnormal kid. Why do you really label the child? So with so many examples, with so many proofs, you need to make the parent understand. Then only they get that done. So this is a problem we are actually facing in India. Okay, so this is actually required, but the teacher cannot really can't certify it. Can identify it, but cannot certify it. Please understand these two words. Okay, can identify, because the teacher is only handling the child, and throughout the day the teacher will be observing the child. So with proper knowledge, the teacher can say that yes, this child is really suffering with some mental issues, some problem with the learning process. So the teacher can really say this, but where, how, exact IQ test will be done only by psychiatrist. Okay, that is clinical psychologist. So please refer there. School will not take that. Okay. Okay, can I get an individual education plan for my child? I told you, this IEP is required for such kids. You need to write it. Okay, I'm worried about having my child labeled in the school system. Won't that mean that she will be in a special education forever? No, she won't be. Once she comes out of that, once she starts learning properly, she will become normal. She will not be in remedial room for a longer period. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. This was my presentation. What all I wanted to really tell you, I just told you all. Now my forum is open for questions. You can ask.
Okay, thank you, Akhila ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. There are a few questions I'm going to read, so you can just listen very carefully. Ashwini has asked a question: Is learning disability seen only in special children or also in normal children?
Normal children, Actually, special children means what? There is a problem, we call them as a special. So, if normal children in the sense, they'll be normal in everything. Only, I don't know, there'll be some difficulty due to some other causes. So, when this problem comes, then we have to think that it is a special child. It is a disabled child.
No, excuse me, Akhila ma'am. Yeah. Actually, my question was like, see, if the child has any genetic issues, only those children will face this learning disabilities, or is the genetically normal children? In that way, I'm asking.
No. Normal children also will face this problem.
Okay.
I told you, this is a neurological problem. It is not only with genetic. Okay. So many other factors also influences this problem.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashwini.
Thank you, Ashwini ma'am. So there's one question. Prem Prasad Jaishi has asked: Will technology be helpful in rectifying some of the disabilities, learning disabilities?
Okay, technology. The technology will help these children to learn in a better way. Okay, because usually what happens, see, the children, those are having writing problems. You can give them the calculator, you can give them the computers, they can learn well. Okay, again, looking at their difficulty level, where actually, is this a writing disability, auditory disability? See, looking into that, you can definitely support them with technology. That is really good. That is only actually helping these disabled children nowadays. And they are very smart also with this technology, those kids.
Okay. Thank you. So there's another question from Minu Pariyar.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So there's another question from Minu Pariyar, ma'am. If a student can read very well and answers also very well, but cannot write the same thing, so is it difficulty or disability?
Yes. Continuously, you need to observe. Is that a laziness, or is that the child is not able to really write? You have to check with all that. Okay. With different activities, try to find out whether the child is literally having this problem. Okay. If then you have to consider that it is writing disability, and you need to have proper strategies to it. I told you, writing disability always with fine and gross motor skills. Maybe the pencil grade or the bones, maybe it is not supporting the child. Okay, so that time you need to have some other activities kind. You can use earlier days we used to use mud. They used to write it in that and learn. So for writing purpose, you can put colors, or with paint, you can make the child to write. Okay. Slowly you need to bring the child for proper writing. Maybe that may be a disability. If the child can read, can't write means, then you need to check with that and see that what strategies will work for that child.
So Tashi Sherpa sir has asked, ma'am, does this do's and don't, that the slide that you had earlier, apply for every child or only for the disabled children?
No. I told you, it is for everyone.
Okay.
That is why I put for teachers. It is for everyone.
Amar sir has written here, in my opinion, distraction is the major reason why children or students don't meet our expectation. To keep students focused and to keep their interest on studies, what can be done? That is the question.
That is what, sir. Usually, first we need to work out with distraction. What is actually distracting? In a classroom, if the teacher is teaching, okay, maybe the outer noise, maybe it is grabbed by the children, or some other disturbances. So try to take the child into a quiet place where you can really capture their attention and see that attention span, how long it holds, and only within that time you need to connect to the child. Okay, and see the interest of the child. Looking at the interest, plan your activity. So I think there the child can meet to your expectation. That is what I feel. The distraction in what age? There also you need to think. Because at the age of around 12, 13, it is a transition period. So it is very, very difficult. That is a diversion age. So there it is completely a different scenario. Okay, different issue. You need to deal it very differently. Okay, but if it is within 10 years, within 8 years, okay, then you need to see how best you can capture their attention towards your teaching.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Rajeshwar Chaudhary sir has asked, what are the tools to make the children to convert into the interest of studying if he or she is a normal one? Normal children also sometimes, maybe that's what he wanted to ask. Even normal children don't want to study. So how to make them get interested?
Yes, sir. You all had attended our experiential learning workshop. That is a major thing, you know, to, put that is enrich interest in the children, you know. It is learning by doing, I told you, So always that really, any child for that matter will have lot of interest. So to hold that interest, it is better to leave the child to explore itself and learn by doing. Okay, it is kinesthetic way will help a lot for any child for good learning.
Thank you. Poonam Gurung has asked here, ma'am, one of my child only talk in rhythm, like only sings rhythms or say words from a book, but in his own zone, but don't interact with friends and us and with his family members. 2, no eye contact. Can you please address this problem? But we found him to have sharp mind. So the child is quite sharp, but it's not so normal with the family members. No eye contact.
Okay. Maybe, sir, actually, some children are good at music. Maybe they wanted to see, I just wanted to share my one experience here. Recently, I was working in one school. There actually one child was in 10th standard. He was very much into Carnatic music, So all the time when the teacher used to teach, he used to keep on singing. But absolutely